Hey everyone, it's Alex, and today we're talking about the September Spotlight Caches, providing ratings and rankings to help you make your decisions on which ones you want to invest your ever so precious Spotlight Caches in. So, because this is the first time we're doing this, let's actually talk about the process here. We're going to have an overall rating for, each individual week, which can be found on the top left, and I'm also going to be providing individual ratings based on the individual cards themselves. Now, obviously, this is my opinion, and I would advise you and recommend that you try to seek other opinions as well to make an informed decision, because at the end of the day, right, everyone has a unique opinion, everyone has unique collections, so for you, each individual Spotlight week has different valuations than pretty much everyone else. But let's get started regardless. Now, obviously the highlight of this week, which is the week we're in right now as of recording, is going to be Jeff the Baby Landshark. In terms of meta value, this card is a 5 out of 5. It's battling for one of the best cards in the game. It's definitely one of the best 2-drops, if not the best 2-drop in the game. It's a card that can go in pretty much any deck. It feels absolutely fantastic in any deck, and it never feels bad. Jeff the Baby Landshark is fantastic. Now, I'm going to take a point off for the Dan Hip variant. I actually like the Dan Hip art, but I feel like you want like a 1200 gold variant here, and Dan Hip is obviously, it's solidified as a 700 gold variant, which is great, I think it's accessible to many people. It makes the reward track and the collection track more rewarding, but you'd hope for something a little snazzier here, right? And we don't get that. But ultimately, Jeff is really what you're after here. And then we have Ghost Spider, which is good. Ghost Spider's a good card. It recently got buffed to that 1-drop, but it's not mandatory. It's not even necessary in all move decks. It definitely makes move decks better, but it is ultimately a passable card at 2 stars. As its own move archetype based card, it's far better than that. But when we're talking about a Spotlight Cache, it's not a targeted card that you really need to make any particular meta deck work right now, despite the fact of it being a good movement piece. Now, Null's interesting because Null is a very good card in Destroy, especially with the release of X23, allowing some potential synergy to get Null out earlier with Zola combinations. Null is a good card in a deck that's very relevant to the meta. So what keeps it at 3? Well, the value of Null is suspect because we just had Null in the first week of the Spotlight Caches, so it's likely if you've been playing the game for a while, you've got Null. It's a Series 4 card. You had it in the original Spotlight Caches, and yes, you get a good variant, but the other variant was Fire too. So the actual value proposition here is almost entirely propped up by Jeff itself. So this is an overall 3-star week, which is good, but if you don't have Jeff, it's probably worth rolling. If you don't have Jeff and Null, it's definitely worth rolling on. If you don't have all 3, then of course it's worth going for. But things get a little more interesting in this next week, and this is why I really wanted to make this video, because we got some very interesting cards here. Now, I want to start with Alioth, which is the new card that's coming out in Marvel Snap. Now, Alioth is going to destroy any card, whether it's been revealed or not, that's played onto a location. And as we discussed on the Snapchat with Cozy, that is potentially a very powerful effect. So I'm going to rate this as a potential card, right? What's its potential? And it has the potential to be a relatively impactful card. However, its effect might leave some to be desired in some meta circumstances. So it has a bit of a delta on how meta relevant it might be. It could be a very destructive card for the meta, especially with its Galactus capabilities, especially if ramped out, of course. But ultimately, it might be a passable card, especially when you consider how good the other 2 season cards we're going to be talking about momentarily, but it definitely has potential. Now, Hitmonkey has traditionally been a very good card. It's a Series 5 card, but it did get nerfed from its 2-drop, which actually hurt it quite a bit. It's actually being cut from some lists now that are actually running bounce here and there, which is kind of wild, but it still is a very good card. It was way more powerful as a 2-drop, but ultimately, it's good. It's a Series 5. It's an archetype enabler. And again, we do have a variant that could maybe be a little more desirable. So it holds it down as a 3-star rating here. Now, it's the Snow Guard that we really need to talk about here, because Snow Guard just got buffed and it's wild. Now, Snow Guard as a whole right now, and it's pretty early in testing. I've had a few days to play with Snow Guard, of course, like everyone else. It is good. It's a damn good card. Even if you're not playing Loki, which is obviously, completely thrashing the meta right now, Snow Guard seems like it's providing a lot of value because you have location control, which we know is very strong with something like a Legion. But it's also just a very good 1-drop into a Loki-based season, and it works really well into Devil Dinosaur-based decks and Collector-based decks. Like, it's just a good card, and overall, I give it a 4 with the potential of staying at a 5. Now, the 5, I have it in brackets, is because if Loki gets changed, then suddenly the value of Snow Guard drops, because the Loki synergy with Snow Guard is kind of what's buoying up its value. However, it's also worth noting that Mobius M Mobius will have an impact on Loki most definitely, and so this could drop from a 5 to a 4 or a 3 just based on a meta relevant standpoint. But we have a beautiful variant here. I think the Snow Guard is, ironically, now after the buff, the most compelling part of this package, ultimately buoying it up to a 3-star rating. Now we're getting to the really spicy stuff as we go in to the September 18th to 25th, and it's Ravonna Renslayer, which I think is going to be an impactful card. This one here, I actually think might be better than Alioth ultimately. Alioth has the chance to be very meta relevant, but I think that Ravonna is going to be very combo centric and have a lot of like meta relevant opportunities. So I do think the potential of Ravonna is pretty awesome. I do think that the variants are actually kind of similar to one another. You could have swapped either one here. I like the little TVA coin there, or clock. What is it? I'm not even sure. I've seen Loki, but I'm not even sure what that is, honestly. But obviously Ravonna, I think, is a very interesting card. You're getting a new card. Series 4, by the way, so if you have Zabu and Jean Grey, you could consider just spending the 3,000 tokens and dodging this. But Zabu is a 5-star card. Now, we're actually seeing some movement away from Zabu, and remember, the Mobius will impact Zabu as well. But right now, Zabu cannot be slept on. It has been a remarkably resilient card in the meta. Now, I want to give it like a 4-star because of the fact that Mobius is coming soon, but at the end of the day, Zabu does something really special. It's been consistently one of the best cards in Marvel Snap, and this is by far one of my favorite variants that I've been seeking for a long time. So I do think that overall Zabu is definitely worth rolling for here. And Jean Grey, it's a little disappointing that Jean Grey is a repeat, again, like the null we spoke about prior. I think that's disappointing, especially when you have like Stegron and others that haven't even seen like the light of a Spotlight Cache yet. Howard the Duck hasn't seen a Spotlight Cache yet. We're repeating Jean Grey for some reason, and the variant's fine. The extra variant's fine. Jean Grey is probably better than we're giving it credit for. It's probably being slept on overall. It is a Series 5 card, so it's a bit expensive. I don't think you should be spending $6K on it. But if you didn't get it before and you want to get it now, it's probably worth swinging on. So overall, a 4-star rating for this particular week. Now we move on to a week that I think is going to be really fascinating, and that's Mobius M Mobius's week as Triple M, like I want to say it. It's 4-star overall because of the other cards. Now, I think that Mobius is going to be a 5-star card. I think this is an absolute must get in my opinion. I think that it has the potential to be absolutely ridiculous. It shuts down multiple archetypes. It has the potential to completely swing the Marvel Snap meta into new directions. It counters the likes of Zabu and obviously Loki, which is running rampant right now. Sarah. It just does so many things, especially with the wave combinations that we're expecting. I think Mobius might be insane because, again, just like Jeff, as a 2-drop, 2/3 good stat line, kind of resilient in all different types of archetypes, an evergreen card, it feels like they can kind of go everywhere and never really feel bad. I think Mobius is going to be very impactful and definitely worth considering. Now, the problem is the other 2 cards with it. This would have been a 5-star week, but let's be honest. I'm a believer in Kang, but in terms of ladder, in terms of even conquest to some degree, like, Kang just doesn't quite cut it. Like, in competitive scenarios, I like Kang. But for the average player who's rolling on caches, playing ladder, I think Kang slows everything too far down. He has his place, but I think ultimately you're probably looking at Kang being redone a little bit. Not quite like Snow Guard, but as a big bad Series 5, he's always going to stay at Series 5. So like unlocking him is not the worst thing. You got a big bad in your back pocket, like a Thanos or a High Evo, for instance. But Kang doesn't do what High Evo does. High Evo is definitely a 5-star card. It's one of the best cards in the meta. Despite the nerfs and the changes that have been made, it's actually being a little disrespected in the meta right now. Like, it should be seeing more play. High Evo's insane. It's absolutely insane. It's a fantastic card, and what it does to the other cards naturally is incredible as well. It's a great archetype. It's the archetype defining card. The problem is, and the reason why this isn't 5 stars, not only is Kang a little weak here, but why are we getting a repeat again? We're getting another repeat in High Evolutionary, and we're even, as of right now, repeating the variant 2. And to me, this is super disappointing. It's super disappointing to see a repeat in the variant and in the card itself. So that drags everything down a little bit, because like now you're in a situation where if you have Kang and High Evo because of prior caches or whatever, it's like, oh yeah, Kang's a repeat too. What am I talking about? Kang is also a repeat. So we have 2 repeats with Mobius. So you really just probably are going after Mobius to some extent. If you're a new player, then you want to get that High Evo Kang skippable. So it drags the whole week down, which is a little unfortunate. But I haven't made it more clear. I think this card is going to be a banger. And that's just my opinion. But regardless, guys, I hope you found this video helpful. As I said, I do encourage you to get some other opinions as well, because your tokens are valuable and your caches are super valuable as well. Thanks for supporting my content, hitting the like button, subscribing if you're not subscribed, and we'll see you in that next Marvel Snap video.